1959, I went to the North American Championships in Squaw Valley, and I placed 5th overall, and it stayed in the top 5 pretty consistently. And they finally had the final jumping tryouts for the final people for the 1960 Olympic team. I wasn't picked on the team. So Delby and I went back to college at the University of Wyoming, where we were on a full ski scholarship. And just before the Olympics started, I told Delby, I said, I've got $75 that I've saved to go active in a fraternity. I said, let's take that and go to Squaw and watch the Olympics. And so we hopped in the car, and the last minute I just stuck my jumping skis on top of the car. I had a business card at the time that says, have skis, will travel. So we got to Squaw, the American jumping judge came up and said, Ray, did you bring your skis? Your jumping skis? Yeah, why, Pop? You know, just had to read my dad. He said, well, the timing mechanism has gone out on the jumping hill, and we need somebody that's been jumping with these guys consistently so we know how much speed to set on the jump. So I went up and stand at the top, and a couple of the guys on the Olympic team came over and said, Ray, make it a real easy, smooth jump. We like where we're starting up here, and if we move down, the Norwegians and the Finns and everybody will have a big advantage on us. So I take off to do the nice, smooth jump that I was ready for, just an easy, relaxed event, and hit the best jump of my life.
Oh.
Turned out to be the 2nd or 3rd longest jump in the Olympics. And ABC used that in a lot of their newsreels. They started a newsreel with my jump. And then after I quit racing, I was the head ski coach at the university. I quit competing to be a coach. So I went to the athletic director and I said, Red Jacoby, I said, I'd like to be in Europe. I said, one of the boys that I've coached on the team is jumping in the Olympics in Innsbruck, and I'd like to go help him. And he said, no problem. I said, well, there is a slight problem. He said, what's that? I said, I don't have a passport. He said, well, here we take care of that. And he calls the governor of Wyoming, and the governor says, I can't help you with a passport. So he calls the White House. And he says, I want to speak to Mike Mansfield, who was a special assistant to President Kennedy at the time. And this is Red Jacoby out in Wyoming. He comes to the phone. He said, we've got a coach here that wants to be in Europe in a couple of days and doesn't have a passport. And he said, well, have him airmail me a picture and his stuff. And I said, well, make that 2 pictures. I'm going to take my mother along. Take Ruby with her. So we sent the pictures off and packed up. And Mom said, I've never flown in a plane. She said, I heard you just tell Hazy that this is so easy. You just sit down like you're in a big living room chair. And
so follow your advice.
So we get to New York, and they're paging me at the airport, and they said, you forgot to sign your passport pictures, but there's a limousine waiting out front for you. Go out, and they'll take you to the immigration office. So I go out, and here's a limousine with 2 American flags on the front fenders, and you pull up the immigration office, the guy's standing out on the sidewalk. We sign our passports, fly into Innsbruck. I said, I need a car and a room. They said, there's no cars available. There's no rooms. Hadn't been rooms available
for a long time.
So I called Buddy,
and he was there to.
He was there competing, and I said, he said, where are you? And I said, well, Mom and I are in Innsbruck, but we don't have a room. The car said, stay right there. Well, pretty soon, boy, they called me back and says, Mr. Heid, would you like a Volkswagen or some other type of fancy car? And you have a room at the Mary and Teresa Hotel, and you mentioned Buddy's name in Europe.
And he was
a rock star.
Yeah.
You know, he could pull any strings you needed to pull. So he took care of us. I was able to watch him compete in his last Olympics, and was there when Billy and Jimmy both won their medals.